Good afternoon, everyone there in OptionVue land. Especially warm welcome to James, William, Steve, John, Jose, Bob, Jochen, Wilhelm, Mustafa, Charles, and Brian, and Abdiram, whoever that is. Today we're going to be talking about the portfolio manager, and I don't know if any of you know the word lollygagging, but we're going to lollygag through the portfolio manager, and that word brings to mind an inner tube ride down the Pedernales Falls, which is near Austin, Texas, where I used to live. When I was in my 20s, I would take the inner tubing ride and just lollygag through the stream, downhill most of the way, of course. That was near Lake Travis, and it was a beautiful area, and that's what we're going to be doing in portfolio management today. Also, I want to, at the end, if we have a few minutes, go into the survey, and then the survey function is really a very interesting results kind of functionality. I'd like to present a little intro on that, and then save the bulk of that for the next presentation that I'll be doing down the road, down the lollygagging road. I also wanted to show you that a lot of what I'm discussing is found in the user's guide, which now it's not up here. The user's guide is in the OptionVue.com website, and all you would do is go to OptionVue.com and click on support, and then you'll see the OptionVue user's guide, and it's just for your notation, it's pages 94 through 149. So obviously we're not going to get through all of that today, but some of that, just I hope the highlights and the nuggets of what's involved in the record keeping section. Today, the big thing is that the record keeping areas are talked about and discussed in the info button, the TLog button, the status button, and all kinds of reports with all of these tabs in the reports button. The record keeping in OptionVue is actually a place where you record and analyze your investment transactions. These really powerful features aren't generally found in most general tracking systems, and that would include displays of up-to-date, up to the minute actually, information in the status of your account, the tracking an unlimited number of accounts, and you'll see that right here in the info button. You can actually set up, I've got dozens of accounts, and I actually had a client that could set up 550 accounts, and he named them all after his clients' last names, and he kept track of each account in OptionVue for his clients that way. And so it's very robust in terms of account numbers. Also, you can include, as I said, realized and unrealized gains and losses. You can track your performance. You can generate reports. You can automatically recognize spreads, straddles, and other combinational trades. And the beautiful also feature, I think, is that OptionVue can automatically expire, exercise, and assign your options. So it's a very, what I call, and I always tell my clients this, it's an option-centric portfolio management system that, you know, the other brokerages, I don't know that they can group trades, ungroup trades, see the margin calculations, recalculate based on, say, a covered call versus just a long stock and short call position. That's going to be a different calculation for margins. So things like this are very important in OptionVue and in your record keeping functions. The other thing is I had a guy that actually saved the cost of the program, which is $995 one-time cost, by using the reports section, the Schedule D in the reports. And he used that to save the money that he would have normally paid his accountant, which was about $1,000. He was able to save a lot of that cost because OptionVue pre-formatted everything in a Schedule D for him already. All right, with all of this as an introduction, let's go now into the info button, and we'll lollygag through the info screen. we can, right here is the very first thing that we do when we set up anything in the Portfolio Manager is to give it a new account name. So you would actually hit New Account, and you would type in your account name there. Also, you'll notate here, this is something very special in OptionVue that you can do, and it's called a super account. A super account is a special type of account. It's available, unlike the regular accounts, a super account does not have a transaction log of its own. The TLog is kind of like the checkbook where all of your transactions are. It does not include that. Instead, it draws information from the transaction logs of one or more regular accounts, and it produces a consolidated account status and consolidated reports. So this can come in very handy if you want consolidation of accounts. And we go into great detail on page 97 of the user's guide of how to set up a super account. So I wanted to point that out. Also, this is right here, it says this is a track data account. If you do that, then you actually can do order execution and begin to do order execution through Track Data, who is a sister company that we work very closely with. They have all of our servers, and all the quotes come through our data service real time through QuoteVue from Track Data. They house all of our servers now in New York. And so you can check that box here to start a Track Data account, and then you would say OK. So once the account is set up, then you've got the next step would be to put in the credit balance, debit balance, short stock, earnings rates, and you're ready to go pretty much. The Configure Trade button has to do, again, with this track data information. If I want to send my order execution directly into brokerage, I've got actually two choices, and the third one is on the way. Track Data is the first baby, Options Express is the second, and Trade Monster is, we're pregnant with Trade Monster. We're going to have another order execution platform baby with Trade Monster very soon. So that would be how you would set the trade button up so that you can use the trade button up here, right here, to order execute automatically. If I have an account with anybody else, let's just say it's TD Ameritrade or Thinkorswim, I would actually type in www and then whatever the name of your brokerage is. And you would then be able to trade from here. It'll pull up the website. It won't directly order execute, but at least that way you've got a kind of a one-step savings there by setting it up in the Configure Trade button. The report formats is used for setting up your column headers in OptionVue with all four of the buttons that I mentioned, the status within this, the status, the gain loss, unrealized, and combined gain losses. So I might be able to show that to you in more detail in just a minute. Then down here, the open positions is very, very interesting that OptionVue allows you to include, your valuation can include slippage, commissions, and a gain loss that's already previously realized, and that very much comes in handy for covered calls. So if I made a profit on the stock or a profit on an option and I turned it into a covered call, that previously realized gain or loss or anything from any strategy can be included by check marking this box. The open positions section allows this, and checking this box enables you to have this gain or loss of your open position included. This is very important later on in the matrix to be able to see that these gains or losses are included in the matrix down at the bottom, and I'll hopefully show this to you, but if I don't, at least I've talked about it. In the matrix, when you have a gain loss that's previously realized, there's going to be a little asterisk in the summary section of the matrix by the gain loss area. And you can click on that asterisk to temporarily exclude your previously realized gains losses for this asset, or click again and it will it'll include it. So it's an on-off thing when you click on that little asterisk in the summary, which is at the bottom of the matrix. So this is a very important feature, again, that I don't think any of the brokerages have anything like this, and I wanted to point it out to you. Okay, the schedule for Securities Commission is here. This includes the commission schedule for stocks, bonds, options, and by the way, I forgot to mention that OptionVue handles, in the transaction log, it handles stock transactions, option transactions, mutual fund transactions by hand, and futures transactions, pretty much just about everything. So that's something, the bonds are down here, and then you can set up your commission schedule for options here. Futures commission schedule is down here on the lower right. You've got futures and futures options schedules that you can include right there. So that pretty much sums up the info button for you. Let's move on now to the TLog. The TLog, again, is kind of like your checkbook, old-fashioned checkbook. We all do everything online now, I'm sure, automatic banking online. But in the olden days, when we used to reconcile our checkbooks, the transactions looked very much like this, with the account information here at the top. And then you can switch accounts easily here if you want to see other transactions. And then your date and all of the vital information going across. If I want to, I can actually click this little arrow and see transactions that are based on various periods of time and by asset symbols. So if I wanted to see what have I got that's Google in this particular account, I would just check Google. I would click Google right here from my list of all my assets in this account, and here's all the transactions for Google. And I want to get into this grouping feature, but the reconciliation column is a very unique column in the TLog that I think nobody else, once again, offers, and it's very vital to be using this and critical to be using this in OptionVue. The reconciliation column, R stands for reconciliation. The recon, as we call it, recon field is just 1 character in length, and it's used for 2 distinct purposes. The first purpose is to let you see which transactions have been reconciled in your account. And these reconciled transactions contain either a 0/ character, like a 0 with a slash through it, or an uppercase letter. I don't have anything that's been reconciled at the moment. So you will not see a 0 with a slash through it or an uppercase letter in the recon field. But for unreconciled transactions, which these all are, the recon field is either blank or contains a lowercase letter. So this is very important. The second reason for recon is to assist you in what we call grouping, and that's what I've actually done here, is I've grouped various transactions together. Grouping is also discussed heavily in the user's guide in the section on the account status. And it's for grouping that you primarily are going to use the recon field. The grouping makes really life a lot more convenient because you can group a trade, even though you put them on at different times and dates, you can group them with the small letter code. Now, in this case, these transactions were put on with the same date and the same time, so they were already grouped together automatically. But if they're even off by 1 minute, then they're not going to be grouped together when you see them here. And then you can then come in and use the reconciliation or recon field to group and put a little letter, in other words, like I said, a small letter of the alphabet into group. You can see that this is a spread, this is another spread, this one is with calls, this one's with puts, and this is actually a butterfly with a 3-legged position here with June calls and the 850, 880, and 910 calls. So this is a handy thing, this little up arrow, down arrow is what I use to invoke and then any time period, and then like a recap here. You can pick out different asset symbols and see what you've got going in terms of your recon field information, what's being grouped together and what's not. Okay, hopefully that's clear for you. While I'm in the transaction log, I might as well talk about some of the other features you can do in the TLog area. These are very important buttons. Of course, you can print anything from this. I don't know if I want to do that right now, but the period from and through can be printed right here. Cancel. Okay, I can also date range to print. I guess that's kind of more of the same. Magnifying glass, kind of a closer look. This is the one I wanted to kind of, well, these two are the ones I wanted to kind of concentrate on, but I want to discuss the fact that you can import anything using the import file path and name. You can import trades into OptionVue, and you can also export trades. And there's a lot to be shared here, but I don't want to get into all of the configurations on this right now because I'm not importing anything. It's already here. But I want you to know that you can import from like a comma delimited ASCII file, like an Excel spreadsheet. You can import any number of transactions from various places like other brokerage accounts especially. And then we've got a file import feature especially that we built for you from Thinkorswim people and people that have Thinkorswim accounts. The next thing I wanted to show you is the fact that you can find anything. Let's say you've got 1,000 transactions here and you want to find something. You can look to find something by typing a date in here. Let's see if I've got 3. And then I want to look forward in time, and I want to look through the entire list of everything that's in this TLog. And then I would hit OK. That's not going to work, I think, because I put a wrong date. Let's try 4/13/11. Okay. Excuse me on this. I know it works. I just don't know how the date format is set up. But you can go ahead and look for anything, and then you can also, let's see here, you can look, I don't know why this is, now it's showing me something I'm not supposed to get, which is some kind of a message here. All right, well, excuse this, and bear with me, but to find next, you actually can find things in the list going forwards and backwards. This gets back to another feature called the Parcel. And I had a customer yesterday who he had some transactions from one big account that he wanted to parcel into a second account, some of those transactions, but not all of them. So we have that capability too, where you actually choose the account, the available accounts, and you can actually, from the first account that you're in, you can parcel and go to a second account and either select all of the transactions or, you know, say 50%, 75%, and so on. And this feature will actually parcel transactions into a second account. And you can put your starting date and your ending date. So this comes in very handy, especially for back testing. We do a lot of back testing, and our clients, they like to take transactions from the past and back test them, and they don't want to type in all those transactions from the past. But this would be a way to use the Portfolio Manager for parceling. Okay, I don't want to parcel right now. Okay. So that was the parcel. This is erasing, and we don't want to clear all the transactions, but if you did, that would clear them out. And then archiving is also another function that allows you to put all of the transactions into an account that you want to store but not really ever make any changes to. So that's the archiving feature. The question mark is the help feature that I believe at this point is disabled. We're actually working on a brand new online help and user's guide for you, because the one that's in there is still good, but it's from OptionVue 6. And then all of the changes since OptionVue 7 came out are in the help function right up here under release notes. So you can actually see what's new in OptionVue 7. There's literally quite a few things in here from OptionVue 7. And let's go to release notes, prior changes made in prior versions. So I've got 7.19, 7.7, 7.5, 7.2, 7.1, all the way down to 7.0. And then all the other changes were in the user's guide for OptionVue 6 before we came out with OptionVue 7. So I wanted to just point that out as well. All right, so we've talked about info. We've talked a little bit about the TLog. I also, while we were talking about the TLog, I want to show you, for instance, Google, because I want to show you the new feature that has to do with grouping that I just sort of, in a very tertiary way, explained. That you can see your group trades now individually. And this is a brand new feature in 7.20, which hopefully most of you have. And it's available right here. It says existing positions included. And in this little pull-down menu, I can see all, or these are those letter codes I was referring back to. They're capitalized here, but you know, it's a moot point, I hope. It's not, it doesn't matter if it's capitalized here. It's still a small letter in the recon field in the TLog. Anyway, if I want to see just that letter A, this would be that call spread that I mentioned. I can pull this down so I can see more of the call area. And I can scroll also so I can see this call spread. I can make it more room if I don't want to see anything in the puts or very little in the puts. I can move that bar right there in the middle up and down. But this is an existing position on Google, and I can see the cash flow, the delta, all of the maintenance requirements, the commissions, and the gain or loss. This is where I was saying before that if there was an unrealized or previously realized gain or loss, there would be a little mark or asterisk right here, and I could click on it and have it show both real, you know, with the previous or without the previous realized gains and losses. That's an aside. Okay, so now I want to go and I want to see all of my group transactions from B. Well, B, if you remember, was the put spread. So I've got that here as well. That's the put spread. If I go into the TLog to kind of remind you, I'll show Google. Wait a minute, let me just make sure I got this right. Google, and that's that put spread right here that's being shown. Then, of course, the C, letter C, is the butterfly on Google. So let's look at that now. So go up to existing positions include. We've got C. So that is my, let's pull this down. I can see these strikes. We've got a lot of strikes on Google, so that's why I can't see all of these at once. But now I can. So there is my butterfly. It's an existing position. I can see through the graphic analysis screen, this is a little bit of a bullish position, a bullish butterfly on Google that we've got set up. 5 different timelines. I don't want to get into the graphic analysis screen right now because that wasn't the purpose of our webinar today, but that's how easy this is, and that's the main purpose that you would want this feature, is to go back, hit the B, and then analyze. So you're only seeing what is being displayed in, and if you want all, if you want a real interesting mess, let's look at all. All right, so this is our call spread, our put spread, and our butterfly, all in graphic form. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Normally, you're not going to be doing that, but we have that available anyway. So this is a really neat new feature, and I'm, here again, I'm encouraging you because people ask me constantly, well, why would I want upgrades? Well, because of new features like this that make your life easier, that make trading and analyzing easier, and, This is why you want the upgrade program, because it's invaluable with all these new features and functionalities. Okay, so I showed you some of the cool things here with this new information with the matrix, and we had finished the TLog. So now I want to go into the status. The status is also very interesting because you can see a lot of information. The status updates pretty much minute by minute if you hit the refresh button. So if I have open positions, which the status is showing only open positions, and I hit the refresh button, if the market is open, which it's not right now, the refresh would update all of this information all of the time. So every time I hit refresh. So we've got all the kind of updated information here, the value of the account, the open positions, the available cash, an interesting thing called Portfolio Delta, which we made a big change to Portfolio Delta and Beta. Beta can accept a short stock position, which it couldn't before. But this is, I'm not going to explain all of this right now, but it's very neat information that the Portfolio Beta and Portfolio Delta are calculated, number one, and what the values are. And then I know Steve Lentz and other people have gotten into how you actually use Portfolio Beta to your advantage when you're trading. And Hedge Finder, which is a very interesting add-on to OptionVue's Record Keeper, is used and computes your existing portfolio and shows you how to hedge off of a portfolio beta number using the beta delta base with any number of these indexes. I'm not going to get into the details due to lack of time, but needless to say, if you've got a portfolio that's mostly a technology portfolio, for example, you would use the QQQs and that beta delta base to work a hedge off of, and have OptionVue show you maybe how to adjust and make a hedge so that you are what I would say delta neutral or more delta neutral than if you didn't use a beta delta base analysis. So also, we've got the realized gains and losses up here, unrealized. We've got dividends, interest, and fees. The portfolio theta is also a very important number that's also used in conjunction with the beta delta theta. And then you can include or not include slippage and commissions. And we've got a very sophisticated slippage model that's normally shown under model. Let me go to model, and then slippage. We've got 5 different settings for slippage, which is kind of the give between your bid and your ask. So you can have slippage be none if you don't really want a real world factor to be taken into account, or if there's heavy volume, you would have small slippage, and if there's not very much volume on the options, you would have large slippage. So that's just a little bit about slippage. Okay, back to status. These headers are very customizable, so you can change those and kind of make them according to what you want. You can click from anywhere, any transaction, and just double click on it if you want to. And let's see, just a second here. Where was I? Okay, I want to look at Google, and I want to just go from here and do the analyze. So I can easily see an analyze screen just by going to the status. Okay, and highlighting that, and then taking a closer look at anything that I want to without a lot of effort. And when I right-click on this, I can do all kinds of other things. I'm not going to have time to get into alerts, but I can actually set up alerts in the Portfolio Manager too. If I wanted to set up an alert on Google, I could get into setting up alerts, either setting up on this position, this is the butterfly, set the alert up here, have a price alert. There's all kinds of things in here for alerts, and I can have the alert be sent to my email, display a message, give a sound, post a message in your log, in your TLog, and I could dismiss the alert permanently, renew the alert, or renew the alert at a certain time each day. And then I can actually type notes in. You may store optional notes with this alert at the time that you set it all up, like what your thoughts were about when you wanted to exit and enter the position. So that's another really handy feature that you can get into and use. Okay, I think for now that's enough about the status. The other really big thing, and probably this is going to be before I get into the survey, this will be the last thing that I'll show. I'm going to do it the Hebrew way, even though I'm not of that origin, but I want to go right to left, because a lot of people, they see the program, they don't actually realize or even check out that when you have these reports, you can start by looking at a tax report. This is where that guy saved all the money to actually buy the program by not having to pay his accountant to do the tax information. This is pretty much according to Schedule D, and you can set up different column headers again in here, but you've got everything for tax purposes in this tax report. And it's long-term. Futures are not accounted for the same way as stocks for tax purposes. So these are going to be primarily for stock and index options reports. Interest and transfers, you've got interest earned, interest charged, deposits, withdrawals, service fees, management fees. So that's another really nice tab. Dividends, if there were any dividends that got paid, then this would be reported here. List of accounts, when I click list of accounts, I can see all of the accounts that I have in the info button right here. And the cash balance, the position, the description, the original price, the current price. And I can scroll down and see all the values. And I can also go according to, once again, according to symbol. So if I have a position in, I see one in JPM. Let's just type that. So if I got more than one account that has JPM, I can type that in here. Or if I want just this account, I would do that. Or if I want all accounts, I can see that, all accounts that have the symbol JPM. So this is let's see, strategy tag. Okay, this is also really cool, as I can see any spread that I have in all of my accounts, or just in, you know, anything with Google that's spread, for example. So this can be used in multiple fashion to analyze and look at open positions. Anything that you really want to look at can be done with list of accounts. Okay, performance summary is how did each account do? How much did I deposit originally? And it's very important in OptionVue to put an original investment deposit into the account, because all of the calculations are done off of that original deposit. The funds that were added into each account, withdrawn from the account, the net flow of funds, the current value of the account, the percentage that that account has gained or lost, and the annual percentages. I don't know, do you guys, maybe you can tell me later, but I don't know if your brokerages calculate all these things for all of the accounts in one fell swoop on one page like this. You'll have to let me know if your accounts, if your brokerages do that. Okay, then performance analysis for the account that you're in. This is all also computed for you. And this is kind of neat to have all of this information calculate and be part of the analysis. And then this doesn't look too good, but this is the performance graph on this account. So what I started at, what it's at right now, It's up almost 30%. And that's a nice little, a nice way of viewing the account in a graphic depiction form. I can show the total P&L down here or show just the realized. So that would include realized as well as unrealized if I want to check that. Then let me just, let's see here, go back again to reports. And I want to include all. So that is already done. And then I want all of the symbols. And I'm going to see the realized. This is what most people use this whole area for, is the gain or loss tab shows realized, unrealized, and combined realized and unrealized. And you can see all kinds of information about your gains. And you can, again, you can look at anything according to symbols. So if you just want to see what are the realized gains in this account for SLV, you can do that, for Google, whatever. So this kind of gives you some idea of the robustness of the record-keeping functions, I hope. And the hedge finder, again, is a very valuable feature for hedging off your position using one of the beta delta bases. So that's a really cool thing, I think. Okay, I will now go into the survey, and I'm going to just give you a little slice of action here. Because I want to save the bulk of this discussion for next time. But the survey is actually a feature that does scanning based on the background data files, that we call it the daily data files, that are in the background database, which are all the optionable assets traded in the United States. We used to include Australia. I don't know if that works anymore. I'll have to find out for the next time. But all of the asset types, whether they're stocks, indexes, bonds, commodities, currencies, all futures, non-futures, and non-stocks, are something that you can scan for. And you can pick any number of assets. I'll just stick with 50. We'll run one scan here. And we'll pick these based on the greatest dollar volume of options traded. That way they're the most liquid. And we'll look for the highest implied volatility right now. So if implied volatility is high, that would indicate that you could probably find stocks whose implied volatility of the options is high, and begin to look further at doing some research on those for selling those off. So Walmart would be has got a lot of dollar volume of options traded. This number is actually represented in thousands of dollars. So you multiply this number times 1,000 to get the option trading volume. So it's listing the best 50 stocks in terms of options trading volume, and we're ranking them in terms of low. I thought I picked high. I'm sorry. High implied volatility. Let's hit go again. And we can see all kinds of things here. Netflix is a good one with high implied volatility, and it's in its, well, actually, I'd like something a little bit better. Like Tesla Motors is in its 99th percentile in terms of high implied volatility right now. And I can see a volatility chart on Tesla, kind of get some idea of where the volatility is at on this. The implied volatility is the blue line. So this just gives you a little preview of how you can search. And I wanted to give a testimonial here because our Australian dealer, Paul Wise, actually presents this in great detail. He said almost every time he does a live presentation, because he said that he himself finds almost all of the trades that he makes by using the survey feature, because he does a lot of volatility-based trades. And he said this feature, he told me anyway, this feature is unique to OptionVue. Nobody else has it. He's researched all the other companies, brokerages, platforms, etc., and he can't find anything that does exactly what OptionVue does here in the survey feature. So another good reason to consider buying OptionVue, and this is no charge to get the survey, and to begin using it with the data coming from our background data, daily daily data files. Okay, I think that's it for now. If you have any questions, if you could email me, Karen@OptionVue.com, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. And if you haven't upgraded to version 7.2, please give me a call and we can get you started with the STAR subscription to upgrade. And then look for the new manual and new online help in the next couple of months from us, okay? All right, I think that's it for now. Thank you so much, and more adventures next time. Lollygagging away. Bye-bye.